Ireland has long held a central place in the landscape of English-language literature, producing some of the most innovative, challenging and compelling writers of the modern and contemporary periods. From the dense experimentalism of James Joyce to the minimalist realism of Sally Rooney, Irish literature offers a fascinating mirror to Ireland's tumultuous history, evolving society, and vibrant culture. In this video, we will trace the literary journey from the early 20th century to the present, examining how Irish writers have shaped and redefined literature across generations. We begin with the modernist revolution initiated by Joyce and follow the evolution through figures like Samuel Beckett, Seamus Heaney, Edna O'Brien, and Anne Enright, arriving finally at Sally Rooney, who represents a fresh millennial voice in the canon. James Joyce, the architect of modernism. James Joyce, 1882–1941, stands at the pinnacle of not only Irish literature but global modernist writing. Born in Dublin, Joyce's influence stems from his deep engagement with Irish identity, Catholicism, nationalism and language. Key works: Dubliners, 1914. A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, 1916, Ulysses, 1922, Finnegan's Wake, 1939. In Dubliners, Joyce explores the paralysis and moral stagnation of Dublin life through a series of realist short stories. With A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, he charts the development of a young man's intellect and defiance against societal expectations, representing a semi-autobiographical account. Ulysses remains his magnum opus, a towering work of literary modernism. Using stream of consciousness, interior monologue, and mythic parallels with Homer's Odyssey, Joyce reimagines a single day in Dublin with extraordinary complexity. Critic Hugh Kenner notes, Joyce liberated the novel from the tyranny of plot. His innovations opened the path for experimental narratives and became a benchmark for intellectual fiction. Samuel Beckett, The Theatre of the Absurd. Samuel Beckett, 1906–1989, though often associated with French literature due to his writings in French, remains an essential figure in Irish letters. His stark, minimalist style is most clearly seen in his plays and later novels. Key works: Waiting for Godot, 1953, Endgame, 1957, Molloy, Malone Dies and the Unnameable. In Waiting for Godot, two characters wait endlessly and meaninglessly for someone named Godot. This play marked the birth of the theatre of the absurd, reflecting the existential despair and absurdity of post-war Europe. Beckett's exploration of language's limitations, identity dissolution, and human suffering is central to his aesthetic. He once said, "Every word is like an unnecessary stain on silence and nothingness." Seamus Heaney, The Poet of the Earth and History. Seamus Heaney, 1939–2013, Nobel laureate in literature, 1995, brought poetry back to the Irish soil, literally. His early poetry captures rural life and myth while addressing political violence in Northern Ireland with delicacy and insight. Key works: Death of a Naturalist, 1966, North, 1975, Fieldwork, 1979, District and Circle, 2006. In North, Heaney uses images of ancient bog bodies to draw parallels with contemporary political violence, offering a poetic meditation on history and identity. Heaney wrote, "The poet's voice must not simply record but transform," and his work managed to turn the personal into the political, the historical into the lyrical. His translations, including Beowulf, made him a key figure in connecting Irish traditions with broader European culture. Edna O'Brien, The Voice of Irish Womanhood. Edna O'Brien, born 1930, gave a voice to the inner lives of Irish women at a time when literature in Ireland was dominated by male voices and Catholic conservatism. Her first novel, The Country Girls, 1960, was banned in Ireland for its sexual openness and portrayal of female desire. Key works: The Country Girls trilogy, Girl, 2019, The Little Red Chairs, 2015. Her work has continually explored the constraints placed on women by society, religion, and patriarchy. O'Brien's lyrical prose and fearless engagement with taboo topics earned her critical acclaim and a position as one of Ireland's greatest living writers. Angela Bourke describes O'Brien's style as poetry within prose, and her influence on a new generation of Irish women writers is undeniable. Brian Friel, 1929-2015, sometimes called the Irish Chekhov, revitalized Irish theatre in the late 20th century. His plays are both local and universal, exploring identity, language, memory, and the tension between tradition and change. Key works: Translations, 1980, Dancing at Lugnasa, 1990, Faith Healer, 1979. Translations dramatizes the colonial imposition of English language over Irish names and places, using a 19th century setting to explore modern issues of identity and displacement. Dancing at Lugnasa offers a haunting portrait of 5 sisters in 1930s Donegal, evoking a world on the cusp of disappearance. Roddy Doyle and the Working Class Voice. Roddy Doyle, born 1958, brought a new, energetic realism to Irish fiction in the late 20th century. With snappy dialogue and gritty realism, his work focuses on the lives of working-class Dubliners. Key works: The Commitments, 1987, Paddy Clark, Ha Ha Ha, 1993, Booker Prize winner, The Woman Who Walked Into Doors, 1996. His use of colloquial language and humor makes his work accessible and engaging. Doyle provides an unromanticized look at Irish life, dealing with themes like poverty, domestic violence, and cultural change. Anne Enright, born 1962, won the Man Booker Prize for her novel The Gathering, 2007, a dark and introspective examination of an Irish family dealing with trauma, secrets, and memory. Key works: The Gathering, 2007, The Forgotten Waltz, 2011, The Green Road, 2015, Actress, 2020. Her prose is sharp, emotional, and often laced with irony. She has been praised for her psychological acuity and her portrayal of female subjectivity. Contemporary Irish literature and the rise of Sally Rooney. Sally Rooney, born 1991, represents a new generation of Irish writers whose concerns are not rooted in nationalism or colonialism, but in personal identity, intimacy, and communication in a hyper-connected world. Key works: Conversations with Friends, 2017, Normal People, 2018, Beautiful World, Where Are You, 2021. Rooney's novels feature emotionally intelligent, politically aware young characters navigating relationships and existential uncertainty. Her minimalist style has drawn comparisons to Jane Austen and J.D. Salinger, though her voice is unmistakably contemporary. Writing in a post-crash Ireland, Rooney addresses themes like class, gender, and millennial ennui. Critics note her ability to make the personal political and vice versa. In Normal People, the relationship between Connell and Marianne is dissected with painful precision. Rooney's prose is spare, yet emotionally charged, a hallmark of her unique style. Her work has been adapted into a successful television series, expanding her global influence. Despite the diversity of style and content, several themes unify Irish literature across this period: identity and nationhood. From Joyce's critique of Irish paralysis to Friel's exploration of language and colonization, questions of Irish identity remain central. Religion and rebellion. The shadow of Catholicism looms large, whether as something to rebel against, Joyce O'Brien, or something to mourn, Heaney. Language and innovation. Irish writers have continually pushed the boundaries of language: Joyce's stream of consciousness, Beckett's minimalism, Rooney's psychological realism. Family and memory. From Enright's brooding familial sagas to Rooney's interpersonal entanglements, Irish fiction often turns inward to interrogate how memory shapes experience. Place and displacement. The sense of place, rural Ireland, Dublin streets, imagined spaces, pervades the literature. Emigration, exile and return are recurring motifs. The global reach of Irish literature. Irish writers today enjoy a global readership. Festivals like the Dublin Literary Festival and institutions like the Irish Writers' Centre support and celebrate this vibrant literary tradition. Irish literature is studied across the world, and writers like Rooney, Enright and Colm Tóibín are global figures. Moreover, Irish writers are deeply involved in the political and social issues of their times. The legacies of colonialism, the Troubles, the Catholic Church, and the economic crash continue to influence fiction, poetry, and drama. Irish literature, from James Joyce to Sally Rooney, is not merely a chronicle of evolving literary trends. It is a reflection of a nation's soul through changing times. The writers profiled here have reimagined what literature can do, probing consciousness, challenging power, and capturing the human condition in all its glory and despair. As Irish society transforms, becoming more diverse, urban and secular, its literature too evolves. Yet the connection to history, language and identity remains strong. Whether in the sprawling complexity of Ulysses or the aching intimacy of normal people, Irish literature continues to offer some of the most vital and visionary writing of our time.